Good morning, MAGFest. Are y'all as tired as I am? Because I am freaking destroyed. But
hello, everybody.
Hello, Nanode. Yeah. Where to even start? I know where to start. So I was thinking about it today, and VRchat to me is very, very reminiscent of MAGFest. It's full of many small communities that that focus around, meeting up in this one space. It happens to be virtual, and everyone does their own thing. And there's lots of different kinds of communities. You have like role-playing communities, stand-up comedy, communities of game developers and 3D modelers and world developers, and you have a whole fashion industry and there's a large music scene, and that's what we're here to talk about today. We are all have our own parts in the VRchat music scene, and we want to share part of our story through our personal experiences of what we have seen and about the people we love and the past 2 years of our lives. I think most of our lives, but yeah,
easily, yeah.
So welcome. I'll start with introductions. Hey, Nan, where are you? Who are you? What you up to?
It's my turn. The mic is a little. Hi, everybody. My name is Nanode. Some of you who are MAGFest attendees might, regular MAGFest attendees might remember me from a panel back in 2017 that was called Napstabluke's Family Tradition, where we all laid on the floor and sat like garbage for an hour. But most of you might know me for my musical work, namely a lot of chiptune music and more recently a lot of EDM. You might have remembered me from my main stage performance last MAGFest. But what a lot of you don't know about me is that I've been doing a lot of work recently in VR, which is why I'm here at this panel. One of the big things that I've been doing over the past year has been throwing shows, being part of collectives, and more recently running my own events, namely being Radioscape, which is which is an event where I take artists that I think have a really unique voice in music, ask them questions to help share their unique perspective, and then we listen to one of their favorite albums in an audio reactive space.
Hell yeah.
And
very cool.
Clyde. Hi, Clyde.
Well, hello. How's it going? I hope you guys are hearing me just fine.
Yeah, can you hear us all right? Is that okay? Cool. Hell yeah.
Awesome. Pleasure to meet everybody. My name is Clyde. I go by the name Clyde Machine. I do a couple of different things in the VR space. Most notably, I work on the tech backend for Loner Online, which is a VR-only event experience. I would say runs out of Club Loner. Imagine that. In VRchat, we run streams. We run events with live DJs in tried to hit every 2 weeks. So almost every other Friday, you can be guaranteed there's some Loner Online event going on. You can always find them at loneronline.com. Easy to remember, easy to find. The big things that I do personally is I don't know anything about 3D, so I let the experts handle that, and I handle just the streaming side of that, since the Twitch stream is a very strong component for, in my view, accessibility. Not everybody has a VR headset. Not everybody can run VRchat on their computers. It's an unfortunate fact of the world, but changing every day. But until then, we have a dedicated stream. That way, people outside of the usual VR space can enjoy the same events that we do. Aside from that, I also run the VRCC VRchat Club Collective, which is, for all intents and purposes, a event aggregation platform. Interesting thing about VR events is that there are so many. Lots of different clubs. There's always a new one coming into the space. Sometimes it's hard to find where those events are occurring. So it acts as effectively your calendar for figuring out what's happening, where and when, who you need to join off of, what the requirements are to be there. Aside from that, I also produce music. also under the name Clyde Machine. I DJ performances every now and then when I can. Last year I was averaging maybe 2 shows a month, all in VR. Absolutely love the experience. Recommended to anybody who has the patience to deal with full body tracking technical issues and all the joys of streaming while you're in VR and also trying to DJ. If you love stressing out about things that you really enjoy, you would love it. But that's it for me. Pass it to Kabu.
Yes.
Surprise, surprise, you're up next.
Hello, my name is Kabu. I would describe myself as a DJ and an artist born in the VR space. I'm an event organizer for an event called Squatters Takeover, which is basically an all genre type event focused on merging the sounds of Western and Eastern DJs and or VJs together. I myself am a DJ and I play all kinds of genres. That's pretty much it. I don't really have anything else to say.
Oh yeah.
So modest. Kabu is an amazing DJ. I'll just say that right now.
Yeah, and techno queen actually.
Amazing DJ for being a very new DJ. The VR scene really helps you be able to like put yourself out there in ways that you couldn't with an IRL scene.
Hey, who are you?
Hi, I'm WT Snacks. I've been running I've been running a radio show online for 16 and a half years called Midnight Snacks. And I've been DJing live a lot more in the past 5 to 7 years or so. I got into VR about a year ago, and I've been DJing at anything that I can in VR. It's a really interesting space because I've already been doing a lot of URL shows. I was live streaming IRL events long before anyone wanted to bother, starting with like Tiny Chat and things like that. But I've been really stoked to be in the VR scene, especially during the pandemic when, you know, you can't enjoy live music most of the time. So VR has been really cathartic, and it's amazing, and it is absolutely the future.
Oh yeah. Hi, I'm Silent. Wow. VR chat has changed my life. I think everyone else here can agree, maybe. So I'm a DJ. I'm primarily a visualist. I do live visuals for DJs in VR, which involves a DJ streaming their audio to me through a private CDN network. And then I take their audio and I package it with my visuals and I send it back to another CDN network that then distributes it all around the world. And it's doing live visuals for international artists, I think is probably my favorite part of it. But what else do I do? Oh, I also work as a resident VJ at a club called Sanctum, run by Muzz. I think that's all. Hi. Thanks for coming here. I have like so I would love to start out kind of selfishly because there's some information about all you that I don't know, and I really want to hear everyone's VR origin story. If we could do that, if we could distill that down really quick. Nanode, do you remember how you got into the VR scene?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Do you remember how you got into the VR scene? What's your VR origin story?
Oh yeah, my VR origin story. Okay, so around late 2020, I was meeting a lot of new friends, and I was talking to a few people. Our mutual friend Onumi, and they were kind of talking about, like, hey, VR chat's kind of like this cool thing that's happening right now. Like people are playing shows and stuff like that. And I was like, wait, like VR shows are a thing? And so they were like, yeah, you should get like a used Vive headset and some index controllers, and it's pretty cheap, so like get in. And so I was like, all right, cool, I'm going to get the Valve Index, which is one of the most expensive headsets possible. And and from there, I met some other great DJs in the scene, like Etler, Synthesizer, and Juno. We kind of formed a group together called Hitmarker, and we ran shows like that for a while. And we started out kind of just approaching VR as a space, like from our own art and putting our own vision into it, and which is a theme that I'm sure we will be touching on later in this panel. But my backstory is very much coming at it from an artist approaching the space, completely new. Somebody want to go next?
Go ahead.
I suppose mine is like not terribly exciting compared to most people's VR origin stories, but I suppose I can make it exciting by starting not last year, not at the start of pandemic either, but way back, maybe 8 or 9 years prior. There used to be a website called plug.dj, which was one of those early attempts at bringing... Oh goodness, Nanode, you look like you're having trouble.
No, they're going to another world.
Okay.
I'm going to loner, baby.
Let's go. Perfect. So back in the day, there was one of those early attempts at trying to figure out how to do like streaming music, having like shows online. But of course, it was, a little hokey back in, the mid 2000s. The tech just wasn't there. The interest was there, but it was an interesting time for music being streamed. So what they had was effectively a video player embedded into your web browser, and then they had like little avatars that were, just two-dimensional. You pick your character, and then you get on stage. Basically, you get into a queue with all of your friends, and then you choose a playlist of music to play. So it would be like, literally YouTube videos. Nothing fancy, but there was just something about it. There was a whole community built around it. I meet this guy named Zeal. We get to talking, we connect over, dubstep, electro house, whatever happened to be hot at the time. We connect over music. We're trading music back and forth. He's working on a little YouTube channel, and things are popping up for him. One thing leads to another, and then maybe a year later, either the website died or I just fell out of using it altogether. Zeal parts ways. He disappears into the ether. Fast forward to the start of pandemic. And of course, nobody's playing shows. Everybody's like, okay, well, I guess we all have to, if you're doing music, you are just in a bad position. You can't play shows anywhere. You have to just do a live stream thing. So everybody's figuring that out. And I linked up with someone on Reddit who wanted to do VRchat shows, literally like mic spamming it into like the black cat or the rape pug, right? So just a really scrappy, like you just route basically a mixer like this in as your audio device, and then you would just basically be screaming the music as your player, which is not great for anybody, but there are some venues that have made that work in the past. So the idea kind of fell apart pretty fast, but as a really strange coincidence, that same week that all fell apart, and I was thinking, this could work if done, better somehow. I see this post on my Facebook that says Loner Online, and I'm thinking, okay, another sad boy thing, something or other. I never got involved with that aesthetic, but I see it and I'm like, wait a minute, I know this guy, Zeal. I remember this person. One thing leads to another, and he says, yeah, we were doing our own IRL shows just as soon as the pandemic started. And of course, that's a terrible time to get started. So it was very much like, well, either we give up on the idea or we try to move it into the VR space. So between him and Velotix, whose avatar actually was showing on Nanode's stream there for a little minute, they had worked on making a VRchat world specifically to throw events in, which was a combination, it was kind of inspired from a club out in Australia, mixed with Mogra, which is a club in club event series in Japan. I showed up to this thing in VRchat desktop. I did not have any interest in getting a headset. I said, wait, these things cost more than $100? Well, I guess I'm not gonna get into that. That's one more bit of tech that I don't need. So I'm in desktop, and of course, my frames are awful. I don't know anybody. I just become a total wallflower. I just kind of post myself up on one of the speakers and I'm just hanging out. And there was just something about it. The crowd was super into the DJs. The DJs were playing their actual music. And I was like, this is kind of tight. This is everything that I love about going to a show without all the stuff that I hate about going to a show, like traveling, worrying about like, what was I drinking? Oh, great. Now I can't drive to go home. If people are being too loud, I can, I can mute them, or, nowadays you can adjust their volume levels. One thing that I wish we had IRL, I'll tell you what, the next patch update, IRL, we need volume sliders for people.
Yeah, I know, right?
Turned down a lot.
Yeah, it's so much better than real life. The other two things I always touch upon is the floors aren't sticky unless you are very clumsy, and you get to use your own bathroom, which is probably my favorite part.
You have your home liquor cabinet too.
Yeah,
if you're into that, which is
but you don't have the loaner bathroom as your bathroom.
I mean, if I'm going to the bathroom in VR, I can.
You could go into a stall in VR and then go to the bathroom.
Well, to wrap my origin story, basically, as soon as I saw that, I knew that I needed to come on to seeing more of these. Eventually got into a headset, actually helped out with some of the tech to run the stream after I saw, there's some things we could improve there. Since I do tech work IRL, that would just be an easy, I do this on the daily. It's no big deal for me to do. So kind of brought my little value add there, and I haven't missed a single loaner since it started.
Hell yeah.
I'm so proud of that.
Let's go.
But that's my origin story. I'm uploaded into VR and I can't get out. That's basically it.
Kabu.
Oh,
How did you get into the VR space?
Yeah.
Hi, Kabu. Oh, it's a good time. About almost 2 years ago, I ran a big community for Final Fantasy Online, like Final Fantasy 14 Online, it was called Syndicate Primal at the time, and it was focused on theater experiences, and running that was very stressful, at least on the community and server aspect of things. So a friend of mine was like, yo, I heard about this VRchat thing, you should download it. I was like, can my computer run it? They were like, yeah. So I downloaded it and I messed around with it, and my friends stopped playing because they were like, this is weird. So they left me off in the wilderness of me trying to figure out how this game works, what happens. And then I met someone who couldn't speak English. But they used Google Translate to try to talk to me. Whoa. And I thought that was the coolest thing, because I was like, they don't understand what I'm saying, but they're trying to ask me if I want to go look at worlds with them and go on an adventure. So we hang out, me and this girl, talking for about a week. And then after the next week prior, she says, and the Google Translate, translation, she says in broken English, I want to learn your language so I can understand you better.
That's adorable.
And I'm like, what? That's cool. And I said to her back, well, I'll learn your language too so that I can understand you better. And so I had started learning Japanese then, and about 7 months in, I started hearing about clubs in VRchat, and I thought it was just going to be weird people spamming sounds over their mics and standing around and screaming and looking. I didn't know what to expect, and then I went to this place.
This isn't a TF2 mic spam server.
Yeah. I played TF2, so I expected that. And then I went to this place called Hanayasume, which was run by one of my friends named Maitake, and it was a really cool place where people got there to drink but also enjoyed music, and there were live DJs, and then I was just listening and picking up vocabulary while also meeting people, and I met.
And this is all in virtual Japan.
Yes.
So at 9 in the morning for
at
you?
9 in the morning when I didn't have a job at the time.
Hell yeah.
I was getting up early in the morning just to practice his language to keep
so
my
fucking
promise
cool.
to this girl that I met on this game.
If I could throw a heartbreak emoji right now, dude.
Yeah, I know, right?
And I kept at it. And I met 3 people there at this club called Hanayasume. I met my friend Paul Manson. I met my friend Marco, San Marco, and I met my friend Daifuku. And those three people were so crazy about music and interested in like just like exploring genres and playing whatever they wanted to, and also like just being cool with me and encouraging me to listen to things and to come to things. I said, I really want to do this too. I really want to do this too. This cool thing that they're doing. They're playing music. They're making people feel good. They're also just like being kind to each other. And they don't really understand all of each other's language, but they're just connecting with music. I want to connect with people too. So then Paul said, well, you can do that. Just buy a controller. I'll tell you what you need to buy. And then I met another person in Shelter by the name of 4Ls. And he's like this producer in Japan. And he said then, after hearing, like that I had given up music in college, he said, well, what's stopping you? Just do it. It'll be very fun, I promise. So then I started DJing in VRchat. And it's been 9 months now. And
Which is like 10 years in VR time.
I've done so much, and I've been studying Japanese for about a year and 6 months, so
Holy crap.
it's been really good. This has really changed my life, I'd say, and opened up my world and let me connect with people, so many different people, and I have so much to look forward to with the things that I want to do with learning how to produce music and events that I want to host, and it's even led me here to connect with all of you, to share this experience. So really, thank you for being here.
Oh.
And
Thank you for
participating
being
in this space too. And VRchat's a really cool place. You should probably try it out.
So wait, so you've only been DJing for 9 months? I had assumed you've been DJing for like 5 years.
No.
Because your sets are really freaking good.
I don't even practice. I just do it.
Hell yes. And
Let's go.
Snacks was talking about it earlier, and you mentioned kind of like one of my favorite parts of VRchat, which is like new people, new talent, people that are just starting to get into the scene in any kind of art form in VR, at least within the music, like the music scene in VR. New people are celebrated, like really celebrated. I know so many people that like start DJing, they practice DJing for 2 weeks and already are getting on like headlines for shows and just play, and their mistakes are not ridiculed. They're people support them, and there's this, huge like sharing of knowledge and making sure that we kind of uplift everyone. And that's, I mean, to me, the most beautiful aspect of VR is the fact that all these people get to do this thing for the first time, and then watching them level up so freaking quickly and just become some of the most amazing talent I know. But I digress. Do you have a great origin story?
I don't know if it's great, but it actually relates to Loner Online, which Clyde is the tech backend for. Velotix is the original world creator of Loner Online. And I'd known Velotix Online for many years because he was part of another collective called Cold Tech. So Loner is actually based out of Australia. So it's Friday night in America, but it's actually happening in Australia like afternoon time. And I've never met Velotix in person, but we run in the same musical communities online. And his old collective Cold Tech had like a Chicago branch. And I was living in Chicago at the time, and I met somebody who was part of Cold Tech, and I met Velotix Online. So we're like friends on like Facebook, and I'm seeing all the stuff that he's doing. He's going and touring Japan, and our timing never really worked out. But we still like kept in touch vaguely. And then he started doing Loner Online, and they were streaming it on Twitch, and he was getting all these artists that we both loved. And I'm like, cool, I'm gonna tune into these Twitch shows, but I don't have a VR headset. I purposely did not use VRchat until I got a headset. Even though you can go in desktop mode, as long as you have a PC, you can go and just like use it like a normal game. But I didn't want to be like stunted in how I first enjoyed it. So I'm like, okay, no, I'll just enjoy on Twitch. It's fine. And then December 2019, they did a collaboration with some other friends of mine, Hypernight. And Hypernight is based out of the UK, but also has a big Japanese influence in the kind of music they are and rhythm games. and booked a bunch of my friends who I like normally would be going to see IRL. And it's like, oh, you're getting Kosuke and like Android 52 and all these people that I've played with in America at like conventions and other things like that. But it was in VR. I'm like, okay, I'm finally getting a headset. I like call up like a bunch of Targets. It's like right before Christmas. They're all sold out. I think like the 5th one finally had one, and it was only one. It was only because it got returned. So I go and get that like the day before that Loner Hyper Night show. And I go in. VRchat is very buggy a lot of the time, but we deal with it. But I think probably the worst bug I've ever had was my very first time at Loner, where all of the voice fall off was broken. So everyone's voices in the entire world was all the same volume. So it's just like a cacophony. I'm running it like on my computer that I have not really optimized to run VR yet. So it's like terrible frame rates. I'm like, I don't have my VR legs yet. So I'm just like, oh, okay. Whoa. And someone tells me, hey, like, you want to go into the bathroom and do drugs? Because there's some pills they can do, and it puts on a shader that makes it look like you're tripping. They didn't tell me you could click it again to turn it off. So I'm in there just being like, okay, like loud noises, awesome music, what the fuck? And it's like, no one really talks about in the VR music scene about the social aspect. You can see a Twitch stream, you're like, cool, there's music, and you see these people dancing to it, but you're with people being able to hear other people reacting to this. You can have conversations in the back of the dance floor solo. It's not like a Twitch chat where like it's just a bunch of, curse lit emojis and you're like, yeah, it's great, fire, woo. It is, but you can do your own thing. You can talk to other people about certain things. You can be like, oh shit, track ID. Instantly someone's like, oh wait, hold on. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, that. And it's like, it is a real social experience that you only get IRL or in VR. Because most other URL shows, and I've been doing URL shows and watching like Mogra streams for over a decade, and those are great, but like that's why I say VR is the future, because it's like connecting the dots of IRL to, the meta, the real virtual. Are we in the Matrix? I don't know, but we got good music, and I'm all about that.
Hell yeah.
Hey, the Matrix has good music.
What's your origin story?
Yeah. Back in like the end of 2019, I was working as the art director for a drone racing video game that happened to fall through because our coder ran away with the game. Oh, that was fun. And so like me and the other person that started the company, we're like trying to figure out what's our next project? What are we going to go towards? And it led me to being like, I'm going to get a VR headset. Months have passed. I got my stimulus, and I was like, this is probably a good investment. I'm just going to pour my entire stimulus into a headset. And I thought I was getting it for gaming. I thought I was getting my VR headset to play video games.
Mine was just a VR chat device. It's basically all.
Yeah, and that's what mine has turned into, because I realized that VR headsets, they're not a video game device. They are a social device. They are a device to connect you with other humans. There are video game aspects. There's not a lot of video games, but like the most you could get out of a VR headset, personally at least, is going into VR. And so my buddy who I'm running this company with is like, yo, come into VR chat, meet my friends. And we're like hanging out, and I was like, this is really cool. I got my arms, my torso. But every time I sit down, I'm like squatting. I look like a gremlin. And he's like, yeah, you get full body tracking. I'm like, all right, another $300 investment. Got that. Finally sat down for the first time. I can't believe I paid $300 to sit down. And I saw my feet moving and wiggling. I was like, this is so cool. And then my buddy dropped off the face of the earth in a sense of just was not playing VR anymore. And I was like, oh, this sucks. And just following the VR scene on Twitter, I saw that there was an international music convention happening in VRchat called Music VCAT, and there was an after party that was happening with live DJs, and I was like, wait, live DJs in VRchat? This is that's a cool experience. And so I went to the after party, and there was chiptune music. Like the DJ was spinning chiptune. I was like, wait a second, I'm just at MAGFest. I was like, this is just MAGFest. I started like talking to the people around. I met the guy that like put it together. I was like, yo, like, do you like book acts? It was a Little Bagel, and Little Bagel was like, no, I don't. I've like this. I've never done this before. And I started talking to the DJ who was spinning a chiptune. I was like, yo, like you play chips now. Like I know like some of the tunes you're spinning. Like, do you know about MAGFest? And we got into conversation about that. I think I met like, I don't know, 20 of some of my closer friends in VR that one night. And continuing on, following stuff on Twitter, I saw there was this club, a Ghost Club, and they had these lights set up in their club that someone could control with MIDI and control like the light show. And I was like, that's really, I just like sent out a tweet. I was like, that's really cool. I would love to be a visualist. Like, you know, like I don't know. I was just like, I would love to do visuals in VR. I've never done visuals before at this point. It was just like
I assumed you'd already been doing visuals. That's really cool that VR got you into doing visuals.
I just like tossed it out there. And then the same chiptune friend was like, yo, I heard you're interested in visuals. I'm going to do, I need visuals for this gig that's coming up. And I was like, I've actually never done it before. And they're like, well, if you don't do it, I'm just going to play a few GIFs. And I was like, I could probably do a better job than just a few GIFs. Like if that's the bar, let me try this out. Fast forward to doing over 100 visual sets in the past year and a half. And I don't know, and like, you know, attending 400 to 500 different music events in VRchat. And it's led me all the way to, to start to even be able to build a career out of doing visuals. We'll be doing visuals here on main stage for the DJ block. I don't know. VR's crazy. I met hundreds of really freaking close friends. I get to see those hundreds of friends every week. It's MAGFest 24/7. That's what it is. You're hanging out with everyone, networking, talking, and growing constantly. There's no end to it. It's both a brilliant and beautiful, and it's the biggest burnout ever because
it's really easy to fall into the hole of I'm just gonna when the sun's up and you're just like, oh shit, they take off your headset and you're like,
which is so I do have a fun question for everyone, which is, what's the longest time you've spent in VR, like one session or like one day?
Over 12 hours easily. Yeah.
So mine is I have spent 14 hours. And there was a music festival that I spent 36 hours at in one weekend with a VR headset strapped to my face. Do you know yours?
That's impressive. I have to guess that the longest I've ever been in maybe been 11 hours, but part of that's kind of cheating because I fell asleep and then woke back up and my headset hadn't died. So I was like, well, I'll count that as part of my longest ever session. But
that works. Yeah, that works.
You don't usually do.
What's waking up in VR like?
That's a good question too. It's such a strange. The first time I ever woke up with my headset still on, it was super disorienting because I had to kind of remind myself, oh, my headset's on my head. Because the first thing you do when you wake up, well, you move your head a little bit, but I open my eyes first. And, everything's blurry, as it is normally when you wake up. But I'm seeing the same place that I fell asleep in. So that wasn't weird. But then I start moving around and I'm like, why is my head so heavy? Right? And then, it takes a couple seconds. You're like, oh, I'm just being stupid. I have a headset on my head. Now just waking up in VR is just such a natural thing. It's not weird to me at all. It's just yep, gotta get the headset off. I think a good way of describing it, for somebody who hasn't done this, why would you even try that? It's like going to sleep with your clothes on and then waking back up. If you go into bed, put your blankets on and everything. So you get that little weird, something's very off. You feel a little nasty and then it's just something's kind of uncomfortable. That's just from the straps though. Actually seeing where you fell asleep and waking up to that same space. It's as natural as me waking up in my own bed. I can say that easily.
That's
but
really wild.
11 hours.
11 hours.
Done, I think.
Oh gosh, probably 14 hours or something like that for me. Because I'll try to. There are some weekends where like there's like really, because I keep up with JP events on my days off because that was my start for like a JP music scene in VRchat. So if Ghost Club and Hanayasume and other places are doing events, then I want to be there not only to connect with my other like DJ friends, but also to hear good music that I'm probably not going to like hear, because I don't know about like anything that you would know about people who play like niche genres and stuff, but like you have to go online sometimes to like find like the really like niches of genres that you can hear regularly. You're like, oh, I really like industrial techno, or oh, I really like hard techno, or oh, I really like breakcore. Let me go to this breakcore show. Like you can't really find those like in your regular town. So I'm like, let me go and listen to what kind of crazy stuff my friends are playing, because I'll probably hear something that I want to try, and then I'll go and connect with them, and then I'll be in VR all day basically. Because I'm like, oh well, Loner's tonight, I must go to Loner, and I go there, and then I end up falling asleep in Loner maybe for a little bit, and then I wake up with my headset still on my face. You know?
What about Nanode's longest time in VR?
Yeah.
That's you, Nan.
It's me now. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
Also, I apologize. I apologize in advance for not being as reactive. It's hard for me to hear a little bit, so I do apologize. So longest time I've been in VR. That's the question, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I came down with a terrible illness for the past 4 years, and it's called being a college student. So a lot of my time couldn't be dedicated to VR that much. But I think the longest time I've been in VR, with the exception of having to charge controllers that day, was like a full 18 hours. There was because there was a Ghost Club happening that day. I think there was a Loner also happening that day, and there was so many events planned, and like to Kabu's point, there's at any given day, like more typically on the weekends, but this can be like literally any day of the week, there could be so many events happening that like you genuinely have to pick, okay, which event am I going to, because I'm not going to make all of these. Like, and there is a level of it where like, you know, there's some degree where you're so in VR that like the second you take off the headset, you're like, oh yeah, I'm a real person. I don't exist purely in the virtual world. So it's it is truly a different reality, and your brain like kind of gets used to it. I don't know how else to describe it, and I don't know if anybody else on this panel. I'm sure other people on this panel have had the same experience, but like it'll get to a point where like you might start having dreams of like stuff happening in VR. Like it's really crazy stuff, and like I especially think, you know, the ability to stay in VR for that long is like is indicative of how easy it is for our brains to just kind of be like, okay, I'm going to be in this space for a prolonged period of time, like going to all these events, meeting these different people, because it doesn't feel like entirely different socially and operationally to real life once you're like fully immersed in it.
Oh yeah, that's like just recently at the New Year's Eve event at Shelter, I had a moment where I was so fully immersed that for a little bit I felt like I was peering into the back of a club and actually, you know, like feeling the space, especially when all of our friends are getting better and better at making these worlds and how immersive they are, and how like the lighting is just like real time, and it's starting to get to the point where there is no difference. Whenever I put on my headset, I say I'm going somewhere. I'm going to a thing. Like I use that language.
You're going to a place rather than like
going to my basement and putting on my headset. Yeah, it's like I'm actually going to, and I go to many places as well. I know there's longer records, but I do know of one person who there was a Slyfest. How were they doing 14-hour days? 14 hours, right?
14 hours, 3 days.
For 3 days, and I saw my friend Jazz Putin there, and they had been, like, every time I hopped into this festival, which I tried to make a lot of, they were just always there, and I'm like, like how long have you been here? And he was like, I've been up for 36 hours. I've been in VR for 36 hours.
It's really easy to fall into those tunnels of like, you don't want to leave VR, especially in the music scene, because it's international. It's like, oh, you'll be at one club that's based in America, so it's like nighttime for us. But then by the time those clubs are ending is when it's like nighttime in Japan. So then parties are really, so you could really like do 24 hours straight of parties, especially on a weekend. And sometimes people do it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
It's hard not to when they keep on rolling into the next
It's like,
one.
I'm going to pop by to say hi. And then it's like, oh, but it's so good. I can't go to bed.
Is this where we talk about the thorn?
We can. Or we could talk about whatever our most interest, like what we find the most interesting aspect of VR, and I think I would love to touch on that instead, because we have like 18 minutes I think left in this panel.
Gotcha.
And so like, Clyde, what do you find, like, what's the thing that really touches your heart, and what's the thing that like you really find like the most interesting aspect of the space that we kind of exist in?
The most interesting aspect to me of just this whole space, to me, it's a phenomenon of sorts. Like I get the same feeling that I got when I saw the internet being a thing when I was a kid, and I was like, how come my parents don't like use this? Like, this is going to be a game changer when this gets good, when it's not just dial-up. Like, this is going to make a whole, world of difference. And it did. Everyone uses the internet. That's why we're here today, right? In the VR space, the thing that I find the biggest thing that I find interesting is that it enables a kind of acceptance between people who otherwise wouldn't have talked with each other, right? The first things I learn about somebody is how they behave. Naturally, there's going to be introductions. You learn somebody's pronouns. You learn about their life story and whatnot. You have no idea what they look like. You don't know where they live unless they tell you. A lot of times they'll be very secretive about their IRL self, and for very good reason. Sometimes it's just I'm uncomfortable. Sometimes it's like I'm actually trying to protect myself. Sometimes it's just, I don't know, maybe I'm trying to be someone who isn't my IRL self. Maybe I'm not comfortable in my own skin. I want to try being someone else, different name, different look. Have people look at me differently.
A skeleton.
Like a skeleton. My persona is a skeleton for whatever reason. So uncomfortable in my own skin. I just gave up the skin. But the thing that really got me was just being like self-critical, like vocally self-critical. I try to recognize my own biases as much as I can in the IRL space, but I find that it's you're always going to slip up, right? There's always going to be people that you don't mean to like avoid talking to, but you kind of go out of your way to avoid talking to them because they're just like a little bit too weird. Like, that you probably could be friends with them, but there's just something a little bit off-putting. So you don't introduce yourself, and then that just kind of compounds over time. Like, oh, I don't talk to that person. Not I haven't, just I don't talk with that person. In the VR space, I find that happens so infrequently that it's wild to me. Like I meet people and find out things about them that I kind of look back and say like, wait a minute, like let me see if I can, recognize maybe if I had met this person IRL, maybe I would have avoided talking to them because there is something that's like a little bit weird about them that like, in the VR space, either I don't see or it's like I just get to know them from, whatever they want to share about themselves. And that to me is just such an amazing, like, there's no walls, there's no barriers, we're all just buddies. We're all just like listening to goofy sounds in a club setting and with TVs strapped to our eyes. Like we're all a bunch of nerds. We're all in the space together. Like it's just so like, I don't know. It gives me the same feeling of like this where I don't see that happening IRL. I still see like just just like unconscious bias kind of thing, right? And I see that so little in VR that I'm like, this is such a comfortable space. You can be like just somebody else, nobody cares. You can assume a different name, nobody cares, nobody's judging. And that's just, I won't give that up.
I would like to go next on that because mine is kind of the same thing. That in VR there's this direct soul-to-soul communication that you just don't get in IRL. I mean, so there's the VR space is so unfamiliar that your brain can't come to like jump to conclusions that you usually do in person, where you see someone and how they look and how they dressed and what they look like. Your brain, even if like unconsciously, is just making all these connections that are probably untrue. You're telling stories to yourself about other people around you. In VR, I don't know like the backstory of an anime girl that I meet on the internet. It's just like I can't really make assumption about them other than like kind of the shows that I watch, but even that doesn't really add to it that much. And so it's true soul-to-soul communication. It's the kind of most beautiful form of communicating with other humans that I have found. And especially in our space where everyone's going to the VRchat music scene. And so we already have something that's very connecting. You already have something to talk about. It's very much kind of like, I'm going to keep on repeating, it's an ongoing convention, 24/7. And so you're meeting people that like you are automatically going to have some sort of connection with. But then to take it to this next level, hop into a world where you're laying, on the ocean floor, looking at fish swimming around you and stuff like that, having the deepest conversations of your life.
Or going to Kmart. Throwing people in a shopping cart.
Exactly. Or drifting in a void of frictionless space, which is something I've done with people.
Or
There's a desert
in a car and you play songs on the radio, and one of your friends is driving the car actually in VR, and you're just like looking out the window at like the city side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a
Yes.
that you can
Yes.
walk and it just like keeps going forever.
Or like the sailing boat world where you sail and it's actually real.
Yeah.
There's like so many different places that you can just like connect with people in this medium and socialize without it being interfered by your own personal bias or your own experiences, because it's infinite and it's deep.
If I can interject, like to that point, this world right here, this is the newer version of the world, but Shader Fest is this world is especially indicative of that. The 2019 version was a version that really connects with me because I got to hang out there with some of my best friends at the beginning of my VR journey, but like this place really transports you to like a whole different world, like almost quite literally at times. Like this is a transitionary hallway in between a technical showcase of shaders, like to kind of put into perspective how insanely immersive VR is. Like this video feed is not going to do it justice, but like the level of detail that people put into the worlds in this platform is like unprecedented. People are basically taking on like game development level like tasks to like build these massive environments that that they just like will use as a home world to just like hang out and chill in after like a long day at work or something like that. Like it's the level of immersiveness is so deep.
Was that your interesting thing, Kabu?
Yeah.
Okay. No. I am tired, and I'm still
Is it montage time?
I think so. Snacks. What's
Yeah.
your very
Funny enough,
interesting?
it actually goes off of that. I think one of the best things about VR and VRchat in general is it's wholly a creative space. Like everyone's creating these worlds, and then you have people creating and performing music and visuals, and people are making avatars, and it like inspires people to get into those things because everyone there is a creative in some way, or everyone can be a creative. Some people just like, oh, I can't do that. I can't DJ. I can't do visuals. And just like, just do it. We're here we're all supporting each other. It's like one of the most supportive like communities that I've ever been a part of. And it's insane to see it in the music scenes, because a lot of the IRL music scenes are so cutthroat and they're nasty, and it's like, you know, people shitting on everyone else because they didn't get what they want. But then in VR, everyone's like, no, we want to support you. Hey, you're not getting booked for a show? Let's throw a show. There's no, like, you have to book a venue. You can make a world. You can do it all yourself, and then you can meet people who want to do it with you. And it's just, it's so positive and so powerful. And there's like so little negativity there that, at least when you curate it properly. But like I see the most crazy shit ever and it's just the beginning. Like, this is still in its infancy and it's still already so amazing.
Yeah, and every month it levels up to a degree that I'm just like, holy.
How many people were logged in for New Year's again?
And 79,000 people logged in, and I know that there was 10,000 people watching the New Year's Eve music event.
Yeah, so
Across
this
all
New
platforms.
Year's, they VRchat reached out to most of the big club runners, as in like, so Shelter, Loner, Hanayasume, Rizumu, and it was like,
Tribe.
yeah, Vibe Tribe, who are like the only people in Europe actually doing anything, and they got them to actually like do like, what was it, over a dozen hours of music, all like hitting like midnight at, you know, their time zones, because it was worldwide.
Yeah.
And the year before that, like there was a thing, but it was kind of broken. It just shows like how much it's improved in a year alone.
And it's just a little, one of my favorite things about the New Year's Eve in particular is the fact that like in VR, you celebrate every countdown, every single hour. And if you can make it through them all, which I've done, like, I think I've done 12. I made it to the last one last year, not for this one. Yeah, so we would love to share a montage with you of kind of what the club scene looks like, as much as we can show. And then after that, I would love to hear from everyone real quick on what you're looking forward to. So let's start with a montage and kind of show. Hey, Nan, can you hear me? Did you hear me?
I could hear you just then when you said, "Can you hear me?"
Yeah, so, we're gonna share the montage, and then if we can have one quick thing that we're all looking forward to after the montage, we're gonna touch on that.
Could you get in a little bit closer to the laptop, Mike? I'm so sorry.
We're going to do the montage, and then we're going to talk about something we're looking forward to after the montage. We're going to do the montage.
Oh, word. Yeah. Okay.
Yay!
Word. Sorry, I can't hear as well.
If we even have time.
In the city lights, people walk through.
here at Mag. I really miss my VR friends. I can't wait to get home.
Speaking of VR friends, I don't know if everyone's seen the VR portal. The Gaylord that Nanode's in right now, there's actually a public instance of it that has a webcam going out so they can see us and you can see them and you can talk to people that are currently in the virtual Gaylord.
Yeah. Here, it's down the hall where you go to the hall to the main stage. If you take a left, the VR portal is there. So, yeah, go say hi to some VR people. It's really cool.
Yeah, sometimes they say really nice things about like your cosplay and just like they really gas you up, like positive energy.
Yeah. So my quick thing about what I'm really looking forward to is I'm really looking forward to what all my friends are gonna do next. It's I don't know. I'm surrounded by the most beautiful, talented humans in the world. I am fully dedicated to this space. I don't know. I've never loved a whole body of humans this much before. Like y'all. I love y'all.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, buddy.
I'm excited to have more people join. I hope anyone who is here and isn't into VR or even knew VRchat existed, give it a shot. Even if you don't have VR, check it out in desktop mode. It's an awesome social game, amazing music, and I can't wait to see this continue to take off because, as I said, it's just the beginning.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to echo that as well. I'm most excited for meeting the people that I haven't met yet. This last year, for the most part, I don't think I knew of you folks. I may have known your names, may not have even known those, but now I do. And
now we're friends, both
now
IRL
we're
and
all
virtually.
friends, and we're all here. And every year going forward, it's gonna be a lot more of that. Meet more friends that you wouldn't have met otherwise.
Yeah, this is my first time meeting these folks actually IRL.
Even though we've run in the same circles for a long time.
Yeah. And it's like I know these people so closely too. Kabu, what do you
What's up?
Oh, just that. Well, I've known you, Nan, but like I was just remarking on that. These people on the panel, I met them for the first time, and I love my friends so much. I'm full of love, Nanode. I love you. Hey, Nanode, what are you
Blank
most
stare.
excited about?
What's up? I'm sorry.
What are you most excited about?
What am I most excited about? Okay, I'm so sorry. The stuff I'm most excited about, for the stuff that I'm doing, at least, I've been talking to a lot of artists about getting some more people into the space from the outside. Like getting people more interested in VR is something that I'm personally really excited about doing, but also what I'm really excited about, like seeing the rest of the scene do. Like I'm really excited that like more and more people are coming into it in a place of like really respecting it and coming into it and not just being like, I'm going to get an Oculus and then I'm going to like mess around in here for like 2 months and then get out of here. Like, like it's really something special when I see more people come in here and be like super, super excited about the space. I don't know. The thing that really excites me, as cheesy as it is just to see more people coming in here and to see more people like really appreciate it and just make more friends. Like that's all I'm really excited about.
Kabu.
I'm excited for more VRchat music events. I'm excited
Real.
to approach producing this year. I'm excited to make something, to make a sound, to tell a story. I'm excited for all the cool things my friends are going to do. I'm excited to connect with new people within this platform. Excited to learn more Japanese. Excited to have more moments where I'm wondering, why did I stay up so late? But this was also very fun. I want to do more of this year in a way that also is good for my time and good for everyone else's time. I'm excited for more of this. I want more of this. Can I have this? Can I have this?
Yeah. It's here for you. It's here for all of us. Always.
You can have a little VR as a treat.
Yeah. I hope our personal stories and experiences have been able to paint some picture of what the space is like. It's so hard to communicate this. It's like I've been on that
You really
mission.
do have to experience.
Yeah. And thank y'all for coming so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Nano, take a bow.
No, you can't see. You gotta take it down.
I know I'm going back to MAGFest. I'm going back to MAGFest. Hold on.
So are we.
I'm in MAGFest, guys. It's me. I've been here all along. Hold on. Let me meet you guys in the panel. Oh. I'm sorry, guys. It doesn't exist. I can't go there. I can't be at the panel. I'm so sorry. I can't. Just gonna have to make do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Meet you at the gazebo. Like
Yeah. Here, I'm at the gazebo right now. We'll do a meetup after the.
So I don't know if any of y'all. I'm gonna hang around a little bit if anyone has any questions or wants to like get any more information. If we get kicked out of this room, I'll bring that to outside. I don't know if y'all want to join
I'll
me.
be hanging out as well.
to gazebo.
We could go to the gazebo.
Yeah, but there's probably other people there who, they don't care about.
Yeah.
Outside of here, and then we can go.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we do Q&A here?
Yeah, we'll do a meet and greet. Yeah, I'm gonna look exactly like this. There's currently nobody out here. It's just.
And thank you, Nano, so much for tuning in virtually, like, and kind of being able to show this side of it. Did Nano hear that?
Thank you for tuning in virtually. We love you.
Thank you, guys. For everybody else at the con, please stay safe. Wear an N95 at all times. Please stay safe.
Oh, I wish we had house music, but okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you all for coming.
Thanks, everyone.